So hello everyone. Today I want to talk about modernization efforts made for the Polish armed forces, and to be more specific, armor and mechanized forces, which are the core and the backbone of the Polish army. Let's start with tanks. Polish army have around 142 Leopard 2A4 tanks. These tanks are now overhauled and modernized to Leopard 2 PL standard. At the moment, first 5 tanks are already delivered to Polish army and 3 more are now awaiting in Zakłady Mechaniczne Bumar-Łabędy tank factory to be handed over to Polish army, with more tanks being upgraded at that moment. Upgrades include turret add-on armor, APU, new thermal camera KLW-1 Asteria for gunner, new commander panoramic sight. Turret and gun drives are now fully electric instead of hydraulic. So here on the photo you can see a Leopard 2A4 turret being prepared for upgrade process. It's actually partially upgraded at the moment when that photograph was taken. And here is the tank hull also being prepared for modernization. As you can see, the right rear upper hull sponson is cut out and will be rearranged to accommodate auxiliary power unit. Here you can see the turret which already received the add-on armor, and here is the partially completed hull with a new rear right sponson housing auxiliary power unit. And here are some of the tanks that were already delivered to the Polish army. So we are waiting for more tanks to be upgraded and finally handed over, because the program for the upgrade of these tanks is already behind original schedule. Meanwhile, in other facility, the Wojskowe Zakłady Motoryzacyjne in Poznań, Leopard 2A5 tanks are overhauled. Poland have 105 Leopard 2A5 tanks. The overhaul is less extensive for the Leopard 2A5 tanks compared to Leopard 2A4 tanks because they are obviously more modern. One of the proposed upgrades or changes to the design is to replace aging MG3 machine guns with a Polish UKM 2000 machine guns. They are manufactured in Poland. We have spare parts for them. They are more and better integrated with our supply chains. So changing machine guns from the German ones to the Polish ones is obviously a good decision. There were plans also to replace the thermal cameras for the gunner and probably also commander from the original German ones. Especially the gunner one is necessary to be replaced because it's still the old WBGX thermal camera, which is a technology from the 1970s, to replace it with the Polish KLW-1 Asteria, which is a modern second generation thermal camera. And obviously the vehicles are completely overhauled and ready for service. Zakłady Mechaniczne Bumar-Łabędy Factory is also overhauling and modifying T-72M and T-72M1 tanks to the new standard named respectively T-72MR and T-72M1R. Here on the photograph we can see the T-72M1R. These tanks have a new thermal sight in place of the old passive-active ER sight. The new thermal sight uses the Polish KLW1 Asteria thermal camera. So the tank is better prepared for fighting in difficult weather conditions and during the nights. The commander received a new passive night vision system, and the driver also received the passive night vision system. So as you can see, these tanks do not have infrared light projectors on the turret and on the hull. Other changes are mostly cosmetic. The tank received a storage basket mounted to the turret rear. This is only an overhaul. This is not a complete modernization of the tank because it's meant to be cheap. And why? Poland in general have 105 Leopard 2A5 tanks, 142 Leopard 2A4/Leopard 2PL tanks, 232 PT-91 tanks, these are upgraded T-72M1 tanks, and around 500 T-72M and T-72M1 tanks. All these vehicles are planned to be replaced in future. Replacement will start with the T-72 tanks, then the PT-91 tanks will be replaced, then obviously Leopard 2A4/Leopard 2PL, and last to be replaced will be Leopard 2A5 tanks. So pumping money into these vehicles when there is a desire to replace all of them in future makes not much sense. New tank program is codenamed Wilk, or Wolf in English. The program is now in its analytical phase. We can assume that just like the program, the new tank also will be codenamed as Wolf. During the MSPO 2020 Expo, South Korean Hyundai Rotem presented their proposal for the Wolf program, which is redesigned K2 Black Panther tank. New tank is named K2PL, and we can observe a significant redesign in its design compared to South Korean original. So here you have a very nice 3D render of the K2PL. I will put a link to better quality image in the video description. So, K2PL. What are the changes that K2PL have compared to the K2? So first, the driver station was moved from the left side of the hull, the hull central longitudinal axis. Why is it? Well, there are several reasons why moving the driver station to the center axis of the hull is better. First reason is that the visibility when the hatch is closed is better overall. It is more evenly distributed for the vehicle frontal arc. So, for example, if the driver station is moved more to the left, he will have less visibility to the vehicle right. And vice versa, if you move it to the right, then he have less visibility to the left. So the central position is the most optimal. Another reason is that as all modern tanks have a massive front turret armor, then it becomes less and less ergonomic for the driver to get in or get out through his hatch. The problem is very prominent in the Leopard 2 tanks, the A4s with the up armor of the turret, like the Leopard 2 PL, or the Leopard 2 A5 and newer ones. From the experience of the Polish army, the usability of the driver's hatch is pretty much reduced to the minimum, and mostly the driver is using the turret hatches to get in or get out from his station. In case of the centrally positioned driver station, there is one advantage. It is below the gun mantlet. So for example, if the turret is facing 12 o'clock to the front, the gunner can simply elevate the gun, and more space is made for the driver to open his hatch and get in or get out. This is advantage that have various tanks with such driver station configuration. For example, the M1 Abrams tank, but also other American vehicles like the M48 medium tank, the M60 main battle tank, the M103 heavy tank, and obviously mentioned M1 main battle tank. The Turkish Altay tank also have the driver moved to the center of the hull, making it easier for him to get in or get out. Another changes are in the armor protection, which was improved. The turret and hull front armor is probably thicker. I estimate that the front turret armor is somewhere between 900 millimeters to 1000 millimeters in physical thickness, while the hull front is something between 700 millimeters to 800 millimeters. So it's quite thick, and it's comparable to the front armor of, for example, the M1 Abrams tanks, especially the M1A1 and the M1A2 series. Actually, it's probably closer to the newest M1A2 SEP version 3. Turret sides at the level of the crew compartment are now protected by thick special armor modules. Also, hull sides at the crew compartment level are protected by thick special armor side skirt modules. Engine compartment is additionally protected by fence armor. Also, roof armor seems to be reinforced against top attack artillery submunitions. Hull is longer. Instead of standard K2's 6 road wheels per side, K2PL have 7 road wheels per side. K2PL is equipped with KAPS active protection system. KAPS stands for Korean Active Protection System, with interceptor launchers mounted on the turret. Each launcher holds 2 interceptors, and more interceptors probably can be stored inside vehicle or in external storage boxes. A planned change that is not yet implemented into the vehicle design is to move hull ammunition storage into a new isolated compartment with blow-off panels to the space between the turret and engine compartment. However, this is still in design stage. At the moment, K2PL weight increase is estimated to be around 5 metric tons compared to basic K2. So if K2 weighs 55 metric tons, K2PL would weigh in its current form at around 60 metric tons. Hyundai Rotem offers Poland 100% technology transfer and full production license with rights for export. So if Poland would choose this solution and would start to manufacture these tanks at its factories, then the Poland can offer K2PL to various countries that are interested in it. Also, it seems that the K2PL will become the base for the further evolution of the K2, both for exports, but I have a feeling that perhaps K2PL might become the mentioned often K2 PIP, Product Improvement Program, which will be probably designated by South Korean Army if they would purchase this variant as the K2A1. Hyundai Rotem also plans to develop armored recovery vehicle, armored engineering vehicle, and armored vehicle launched bridge variant based on K2PL. Some informations also surfaced that South Korea is developing either a completely new engine for MBTs or a completely new power pack, so engine plus transmission, and wants to offer this engine/power pack to Poland in form of full production license. K2PL is definitely extremely interesting vehicle, and its further development should be closely watched. Another example of development that is moving forward is new amphibious infantry fighting vehicle program, codenamed Borsuk, or Badger in English. Borsuk is amphibious infantry fighting vehicle designed by Huta Stalowa Wola, or HSW in short. It is using unmanned turret called ZSSW-30, armed with 30mm Mark 44S Bushmaster II chain gun. With the Bushmaster II chain gun, there is also coaxially mounted machine gun, the 7.62mm UKM 2000C. And there is also a launcher for 2 Spike LR ATGMs. At the moment, second prototype is being finalized and it's scheduled to be sent to Drawsko-Pomorskie training area proving grounds, where it will go through first cycle of tests. Borsuk is interesting because its protection levels are quite high for a vehicle that is intended to be amphibious. As we can see on this photo that was cleared for media, the vehicle have a spaced armor in front. This empty cavity in front of the engine bay might be either left empty as a buoyancy, improving buoyancy chamber, or might be filled with additional fuel tank. Either way, Borsuk is rated to have front hull protection, fully immune to the Russian standard 30mm ammunition fired from 2A42 and 2A72 30mm autocannons. There are also mentions that HSW is now developing the heavy variant of Borsuk, the heavy infantry fighting vehicle variant. However, from what they said, the heavy Borsuk will be probably a completely new vehicle, only reusing some design solutions from the amphibious Borsuk. And last information, finally, is that HSW signed an agreement with BAE That finally will allow HSW to export the 155mm self-propelled howitzer Crab. Crab is a hybrid of the British AS-90 turret that was upgraded by Polish arms industry with a new 155mm gun that is using the L52 barrel instead of the original British L39. Other improvements are included, for example, modern digital fire control system and electronics. Chassis is a South Korean K9, which is modified to a K9 PL standard. At the moment, turrets are manufactured by HSW, and there are advanced preparations to start production of the K9 PL chassis also at HSW facilities. Okay, so this is all for now. Of course, there is many more developments in Poland concerning the modernization of our armed forces. There are plans to increase the GDP percentage used for modernization and financing of the armed forces. Hopefully all these programs will at some point be finalized. Obviously nothing is written in stone and things can change, but hopefully slowly but steadily Poland will modernize its armed forces, and we will be even more valuable ally within the NATO. Okay guys, so this is all for now, and hopefully we'll see with the next video sometime soon.